Hi there, and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning about properties of solid shapes, okay? And under properties of solid shapes, we'll be learning about cubes and cuboids. So cubes and cuboids. Now, as the lesson progresses, anything you don't understand, be sure to contact your tutor, who would be more than happy to help. And yes, let's jump right into the lesson. So properties of solid shapes, cubes, and cuboids. Now, what exactly are solid shapes? Solid shapes. So there are two types of shapes. We have plane shapes and we have solid shapes. Okay, plane shapes are the ones you're probably used to up until this point. Basically, you have squares and rectangles and triangles, and plane shapes are typically the ones you can quite easily draw on your book or on a piece of paper because they're plain, but they actually do not exist in nature. We do not have squares or triangles or circles in nature. We have objects that may be circular but not circles, okay? Because plane shapes only exist in two-dimensional space, and in nature, the environment around us will live in three-dimensional space. And solid shapes are the shapes that actually exist in three-dimensional space. So, solid shapes are shapes that occur in nature and occupy three-dimensional space. So generally, anything you can touch around you has a solid shape. And there are two kinds of solid shapes. We have regular solid shapes and irregular solid shapes. Now, for the most part, most of the things you find around you have irregular shapes. Okay, but then we have regular shapes, regular solid shapes, where we have objects that have somewhat defined shape. Okay, and basically we have the shape of a ball. A ball is round, a ball is spherical. The shape of a ball is a sphere. Okay, and then a sugar cube is a defined shape. Okay, if you have an Xbox is also, it looks very defined. And the shape of a drum, okay, or a tin of, let's say, a tin of tomatoes, or a tin of milk. Basically, you have that. Basically, that's a cylindrical shape. Okay, and now let's talk about irregular shapes. You have the shape of a car. Now, the shape of a car is not defined. Okay, the faces are not, basically the shape of a car, it looks weird. It's not very neat. Okay, it's an irregular shape. The shape of a fan, the shape of a shoe, the shape of a cat, your shape as a human being, you have an irregular shape. Okay, you do not have a defined shape. You do not have edges or faces, or basically you're pretty much irregular. Now, let's talk about some very important terms. Okay, when we're talking solid shapes, these terms very important. They come in very handy. First of which, face. Okay, so faces, and the face of a solid shape is the surface of the solid shape. Okay, so if you have a cube actually has six faces. Okay, so if you have a cube, each of the surfaces that you can touch on the cube is a face of the cube. And then an edge, okay, a line on the solid shapes, a line on the solid shape where two faces meet. Okay, so each line on the solid shape is an edge. Okay, and usually the point where two faces meet. And then you have vertex. Okay, so you have the vertex. Now a vertex is a point where three edges meet. It's a point, a single point. So each of the corner points, okay, of the shape we call vertices. Okay, and then finally a net. The net of a shape is a flat shape that would that one would fold to form a given solid shape. Okay, so if you have the net of a cube is a flat shape that you would fold to form a cube. But we'll learn more about this. Okay, now let's talk about our first solid shape, cubes. Okay, so cubes. Now a cube is a six-faced solid shape. Okay, so you have six faces, and each of those faces are squares. Okay, so each of the faces squares. Okay, so you have six squares. you use six squares to form a cube. And basically here we have one of the faces. So this is our face, okay? And then we know that a cube has six faces. And then we have here our edge. Okay, so this is our edge. And a cube has 12 edges. Okay, so six faces, 12 edges. And finally, look closely, the points, each of the corner points, okay, is what we call the vertex or vertices. That's the plural form. Vertex for singular, vertices for plural. So we have this here, vertex, and basically a cube has 8 vertices. Okay, so very important that you take note of that. A cube has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Now, let's talk about the net of a cube. So we mentioned net before, and we said a net is a flat shape that you would fold to give a given solid shape. So if you're looking for a flat shape, if you're looking to form a cube, for example, let's say I give you a sheet of paper and I say use this sheet of paper, fold this sheet of paper to form a cube. Okay, the first thing you need to do is you need to cut out the net of a cube, and then when you fold the net of a cube, it will give you a cube. And I'll tell you the net of a cube looks like this. Okay, so if you're asked to form a cube, you need to cut out this shape on that piece of paper, and then you fold this shape to form your cube. And this is how you go about doing that. Now, this circle in the middle would serve as your bottom, okay, the bottom of the cube, all right. This square in the middle, sorry, would form the bottom of the cube, and then this square would form one of the sides, so you fold that up, okay, and then this other two would form two other sides, so you fold those in, and then this would form another side, you fold that in, and then the last one will form the top of the cube. So this is the net of a cube. Basically, you have your six faces, okay, you have one on the bottom, one on the side, another two on the side, your final side, and then one on the top. All right, very important. You're often asked to draw the net of a cube, or you may be given a sheet of paper and asked to construct or form a cube. So the first thing you need to do is draw out the net of a cube on said sheet of paper. Now that we're done with cubes, let's talk about cuboids. Okay, so now cuboids are very similar to cubes, only difference being cuboids are formed with rectangles. Okay, and just like cubes, cuboids have six faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Okay, basically all of that, nothing changes there. The one difference is just a cuboid is formed with rectangles, while the cube is formed with squares. So cuboids formed with rectangle, cubes formed with squares. Now, this is the net of a cuboid. So basically we have all six rectangles, and when you fold these up, you actually form your cuboid. And that would bring us to the end of this very simple lesson, okay, properties of solid shapes. We'll be learning about more solid shapes in the coming lessons. We'll be learning about surface area, volume. But yeah, you can go ahead now and attempt questions on the worksheet. Bye for now.